Welcome to Live with Lynn. So today I am Lynn Huber. Thanks for being here. If you're here, say hi. If you're watching the replay, be sure to type replay. So do you make mistakes? I know I do, like hundreds of times a day, it seems like. I make a lot of mistakes. But you know what? Mistakes are just part of the learning process. So let me talk about, I'm going to tell you a little bit about two of the mistakes, the ones that stand out in my mind the most. If we go all the way back to when my daughter was little, we didn't have computers. I grew up with a typewriter, with a manual typewriter, and some of you are not going to even understand what I'm going to be talking about here. But we didn't have, and then we eventually got electric typewriters, and oh my gosh, I could type faster. But you know, we still made mistakes, and you had to like white out the mistakes, and then you had to put the paper back in and have it lined up just perfectly in order to retype over it and fix it. Those of you that are my age will probably remember that clearly. But then we got a memory typewriter, and you know what? The memory typewriter had a little window in it, and it would hold like maybe one sentence. And so as long as you caught your mistake within that sentence, you could fix it, because that was all that it held, and you could go back and fix it. And then we got a mag card typewriter, which had a card, a computer card, and it actually saved it on that card. Hi, Erica. Good to see you. So anyway, and then I taught myself, we still didn't have computers, but they came out with like Atari computers, and I actually think Apple came out with one too, but I didn't know. I ended up buying an Atari computer, and I taught myself to program on it. And so that's kind of, you know, that's my growing up with computers, and I'm a geek, you know, and I remember the first time we had a personal computer, a real one. It was an IBM. It had 2 floppy disks. They were pretty good size. They were like 5¼ inch floppy disks. And the program, and this was like, we were so excited because we had 2 floppy disks, because the program ran on one, and then it saved your stuff on the second one. And so you'd put Word or whatever, it was Word Perfect, I think, back then. You put that in on that, would run the program, and then you would save on the second one. And so anyway, long story short, I ended up getting a job at IMCO as an admin assistant, and they hired me because of my extensive computer knowledge. I mean, that's just so funny when you think about it, because I'd been on a typewriter. I had kind of programmed myself. I had programmed an Atari how to do things, you know. I mean, it didn't do much, but then again, the computer was new. People didn't know. Hardly anybody had experience with a computer, so they hired me because of my extensive computer skills. So they got this brand new computer, and it was an Atari, and it had a hard drive. That was unheard of, and I think it held 15 megabytes or something. I was like, oh, I'll never be able to fill that up. But anyway, it had a hard drive, never heard of it. And so I go in there, and they had told me how wonderful I was because of my extensive computer experience. So I stuck a floppy in there, and you had to format a floppy before you could use it. And even with the hard drive, we were saving, you know, stuff onto the floppy, right? So I stuck a floppy in there. I typed format, enter, boom. Immediately erased the entire hard drive of the computer. The computer was worthless. It had no operating system, nothing. It was worthless. It wouldn't even turn on at that point. Talk about an idiot. I mean, here I am with my extensive computer experience, and I walked in and completely disabled their computer within a matter of minutes. But luckily, you know what? It was fixed. It was fixable. I mean, if you know anything about computers, you can put an operating system back then on a floppy, now on a CD, I guess, or a thumb drive. But you could put an operating system on a floppy. So I called IBM. They came out. They reinstalled the operating system, and we were back in business. And what I didn't know is you had to tell it what drive you wanted to format, because it automatically formatted the drive you were on. And so you had to say format A, enter, telling it. Anyway. So anyway, I learned a lot. I learned from that, right? Another experience, I've told this story before, so I'm going to tell it really short. I'm going to keep it short. But I worked at Giordano's Food Service, and I was creating a food and equipment equipment and supplies catalog, because I felt like we had a catalog, but it was just a listing of the products, like, you know, 10-pound bag of flour, whatever, you know, 1 pound thing of butter. And but equipment and supplies, people needed to see it. They needed to see what the flatware pattern looked like, or what the china pattern looked like, or what the refrigerators looked like. And so I decided to create a catalog, and I worked with a catalog company, and this was a long process. I gave them a list of all my items. They created the catalog. I had to proof it and proof it and proof it and proof it. I mean, it was like an 8-month process of proofing this, making sure everything was perfect, just going back over and over and over again, making sure it was perfect. And then I go to the sales meeting to announce our new catalog to our salesmen. There's like 45 salesmen or something. There are only women in the room. It was me and my boss. My boss was a woman, but everybody else was men, and they were all salesmen, and they were all, attitude salesmen. And I get up there and I announce my catalog. Hi, here's our brand new equipment and supplies catalog. Well, I should have brought a piece of paper. So in the catalog, one of the things they do is they do different things in there, like filler pages, like how to convert ounces to grams, or how, conversion, like for cooking and all that. Well, one of the things they had was a page that had a calendar just down the side of the page. A ruler just down the side of the page. And so they could literally, a salesman could put a plate up to it and easily see that that's a 6-inch plate, that's a 5-inch plate, right? And it's just a benefit. It's part of an equipment catalog. It's normal procedure. Every catalog has one for a food service distributor. And so I'm showing these catalogs to my salesman, and one of my salesmen, John, from the back of the room, he stands up and he yells, "Lynn, is that what Richard's telling you is 12 inches? He's holding up that ruler, that page with the ruler. I about died. I wanted the floor to just swallow me. Apparently, the girl that did that page at the company that created our catalogs decided that it didn't look pretty, so she reduced the size of the ruler to make it look pretty on the page. Now, these guys do this for a living, so I still don't understand that. And that one I actually couldn't get fixed. That one I ended up having to live with because it cost $38,000 to have those catalogs printed, and the company refused to reprint them. And I had to live with that for like 2 years until I got a new catalog out. But we all make mistakes. That's how we learn. Trust me, that will never happen again to me because I learned from it. And, Theodore Roosevelt, he says the only man who never makes a mistake is the man who never does anything. Well, that's the thing. We don't want to not do things with our lives. We want to continue to grow. We want to continue to be more. And so that's the benefits of making mistakes. That's how we learn, go back, think back to all the mistakes you made in your life and consider how they've strengthened you, how they've taught you things, how they've straightened you, even your character and your ability. And Erica, thank you. If you've never made a mistake, you've never learned anything. Absolutely. So, and not only have we learned something, but our mistakes have shaped our knowledge, our personality, and our social development and our life experience. They make us who we are. So don't dwell on them. Sometimes it's so easy to go back and dwell on a mistake, and that's not helpful. Dwelling on a mistake can trigger things like perfectionism, emotions such as anger, stress, worry, frustration. That doesn't help you. You don't grow from that. Don't beat yourself up over it. Just make the mistake. Admit your mistake. Admit that a mistake was made to yourself, to your boss, whoever needs to know. You don't need to broadcast it, but don't hide it, because if you're hiding it, then you're forever having to hide it, right? And so not only admitting it is going to give you the respect of your peers, it's also going to give you peace of mind. I mean, when I wiped out the computer, I went into my boss with my head down and I said, "Oh my gosh, I screwed up the computer," right? But it's not really, and the same thing with the catalog. When I worked at Giordano's, in Giordano's, I was always in my boss's office saying that, "Oh my gosh, I screwed this up. Oh my gosh, I screwed that up." And she always said to me, "The thing I like about you is that you make mistakes. We all do, but you always come in here with a solution. You always tell me, okay, I screwed up, but this is how I'm going to fix it. And I just need to keep you in the loop." And so she respected me for that, because my boss knew that we make mistakes. She made mistakes, right? We all do. So learn from them. They're not negative. They're just a path towards whatever you want. And, maybe that mistake you made could help you find a shortcut to whatever it was you were working for. Or maybe that's what's going to allow you to learn that important skill that's going to help you move towards the next process in your journey. Every mistake you make is an opportunity for growth. And so take risks. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Make as many as you can, because the more mistakes you make in the least amount of time, the faster you're going to grow, the better you're going to get, the smarter you're going to be. And risks are part of life, and so are bad decisions, because we make decisions based sometimes on not having all the information, right? So a bad mistake, I mean, a bad decision is kind of a mistake, but we make them, and we make them all day, and we learn from them, and we grow from them. And, you know, it's the people who have failed the most that are the most successful. So think about that. Make a mantra out of it if that will help you. It's the people that failed the most that are eventually rewarded with the greatest results. So anyway, that's all I have for you. Thanks, Erica, for being with me. And everybody else who watches the replay or who's here and hasn't spoke up, tell me about yours. Have you made a big mistake in your life? I mean, we make mistakes every day. I know that. But is there something that stands out for you? Or when you do make a mistake, how do you recover from it? Get down below and tell me about it. I would love to hear it. Anyway, thanks for being here with me today. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.